Welcome back to episode 17 of Double X Download. After a week off last week, the racing season is underway. Episodes this week always brought to you by Dust Pods, powered by AG Video. Also, Champion Kartway, Pitside Kart Supply. We're going to add Dreamfield Kartway as well. And Brad's your sponsors.
Also, got to thank Heinz Energy, Liberty Carpet, and Snake Creek Marine. Sorry, blanked for a second there. Snake Creek Marine and Caveman Barbecue Rubs. Also, Northeast Implement. Yeah.
Yeah, all
So
right.
we're on our way.
Yeah, we are racing
That's
season.
me. That's Brandon. There we go. I got.
Hi, everybody.
It's been a minute. I had to forgot the cameras, which ones they were.
little rusty here, but we'll get it figured out. Yeah, so racing season's underway. We'll start out Friday night. How about your recap, Brad? How'd
my
your night
recap.
go?
It was fair. I honestly, I would assess it as a fair run. We were decent. Car was decent. I think everybody was struggling with bite and drive. You know, the track was really dry and hard. So, you know, it was difficult to get traction. It was kind of one lane around the bottom. You didn't really want to get off the bottom. And I started started on the pole in the heat. Just didn't have the drive coming off, and Marshall Hurd started on the outside of me. He was able to have a little bit more momentum and get around me going down the backstretch or whatever, round 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. So he settled in for second in the heat, redrew fifth for the feature, and just made a lot of mistakes. You know,
Well, bound to happen. I mean,
yeah. Well, you know, it's been a minute since I've been in a mod, and I'll be honest, I made a lot of mistakes early, put me back to ninth. Was able to avoid a wreck and get back up to sixth, and then ran sixth most of the race. And then, like I said, I made a mistake again. You know, I got off the bottom, and it allowed Malcolm and Hartnett to get by me, and that was that. Like I said, I made too many mistakes. Car was fair. You know, I think that if I didn't make as many mistakes, probably could have done a little bit better. But, you know, that's how it goes, I guess. You know, it was first night out with the car in the mod, and
yeah, it's that car's first night as a modified too, right?
Yeah, no. That's the same car that Brett Tonkin won the championship with at Afton in 2018.
Gotcha. All right.
So it has one season a season and a half as a modified, and you know, the rest was crate until now. But no, the car was decent enough that if I didn't make mistakes, I think we probably could have salvaged or hung in there, I guess, for a top 5 maybe.
Yeah.
But you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda, doesn't matter. We did all right, and we'll take it from there. You know, we'll come back a little bit better next week. I obviously learned a little bit, you know, with the modified about what I need to do when the track's really slippery and the car's not driving 100% the way you want it.
Right.
You know, one of the things I think that's just different with the mod is, you know, the horsepower and throughout the races, your car management, which I didn't do a very good job of throughout the race. I mean, the car came home one piece. No, you know, we don't have no major scratches or dings or dents. Just your typical rock and dirt damage. You know what I mean? Which is fine. You know, that's all well and good. We're gonna get that on dirt tracks anyway. So, you know, essentially the car came home without a scratch on it. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm not gonna complain about that.
Yeah.
So it was fair. We came out with a top 10, like I said. We'll learn, and we'll move on from there and keep going. You know, obviously, I got to thank everybody that got me there. You know, Mark, Terry, the car owner, Heinz Energy's been huge this year. So is Liberty Carpet. Liberty Carpet stepped up, new sponsor on board this year, who's came through with a lot, and once again, Snake Creek Marine and Caveman Barbecue rubs from last year are on board again. And MT Dumpster Service is a new one for this year, too, as well. And also we've got the Northeast Implement in-car cam, which the footage I just have not had time to edit. I am slacking on editing so bad it's not even funny. But I'm hoping to have that out by Friday, so you guys have a little bit of preview. Get you guys amped up for Friday night's racing at Penn again.
Very cool. Sounds like a solid night overall for you.
Yeah, overall definitely it was a solid night. I'll take it. Like I said, I made a lot of mistakes. Which you can only learn from. So we're gonna go forward and we'll be fine.
Excellent.
I think we'll pick it up pretty quick. I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, cool. So
switching over. I'll do it. Switching over to the karts. You had your first race Friday night.
Yeah.
As a promoter.
Yeah, I didn't race myself. But...
So tell us about that.
Oh yeah, we opened up.
Oh jeez.
Yeah,
there we go.
Opened up Friday night, our season opener at Champion. Finally, we'd had practice the week before, and turnout was really light at opening night. It was good at practice. I mean, we had probably 60 karts at practice, but I think we ended up with I think it was 41 entries Friday night. So it was a little disheartening, but there was a lot of drivers there, so they just were not ready yet. I know we got a couple guys still waiting on their engines. It's like anything. Sometimes these.
Well, guys aren't all ready to go yet. I know we're still slamming with the kids' karts. We're not quite 100% ready to go.
Yeah, we had a lot of guys. Just they were there. I think there was a lot of apprehension about the dirty tire thing.
How did that all work out?
Worked out great. I mean, anybody that was there. The guys that were there, we had a few of them that were pretty against it, but said, I'll give it a try. And I can tell you right now that Chris Norconk didn't like the idea from day one. He wasn't outspoken about it. He wasn't nearly as loud about it as a lot of guys were. But I talked to him at the end of the night. He goes, "This was awesome." He said, "We spent most of our night doing tires." He goes, "You go out there, you run." He goes, "You go, okay, I guess we're gonna put a little more air in one tire." And he goes, "I'm able to relax." He goes, "I don't have to. I'm not." He goes, it's not this rush. This. He goes, "This was the most laid back night of racing ever." And Alex Carmody said the same. He goes, and Alex was really against it. I mean, he's a tire prep guy. That's what he does. And he goes, he's like, man. He goes, it was. I mean, he didn't race himself, but he came down and helped out another kart. And they had a friend of his, like a kart that they set up, ran the Predator novice class. He went out for the heat race and was just out to lunch. I mean, he was like last place in the novice heat. And they brought it over to Alex, and he didn't have to deal with tires or anything like that, so he was able to go through and fix a bunch of stuff. And lo and behold, that kid went out and won the feature. He went out there, ran second most of the race. Stephanie Deming was leading, and chain fell off.
Oh,
she had it in the bag. There was just a few laps left, and she's that girl's got to have the worst luck of any racer out. I mean, I don't know how many times she's been leading and had something happen.
Yeah, that's always a bummer.
She's I don't know how many times she's finished second. She's definitely the fastest driver down there without a feature win for sure. And just a lot of bad luck on her part. But it was Ryan Beckhorn was the one that won the.
Oh really?
Yeah. Hey, you
know
Ryan?
I know Ryan.
Yep. Yeah. He came out. He actually raced in 2020. He ran a kart at Champion.
No kidding.
A little bit at the end of the year. And on the old track, on the cinder track, and then hasn't been out since then. All of a sudden, he decided a few weeks ago he's going to give it a go again.
Out. Nice.
I think he made his re-debut. I think he made it memorable because he went out there and won the feature.
Nice.
It was pretty
congratulations, cool. Ryan.
Yeah, but Alex was like, he goes, I got to spend time with my wife and my kid. He said that alone. It didn't, and fundamentally, it didn't change any of the racing. Like it's not, which was expected. It was,
Well, it's just like anything. Your top of the line guys, your cream of the crop's gonna find their way up front.
Yep.
Don't pretty much no matter what the rules are, you know, they're still going to find their way out to the front. And
yep, we had. I mean, the car counts. The car counts were low. I think we only had 3 Predator pros. Graydon Stanton won that race. And all 3 of the pros, they were all. I think they were all still eligible to run novice, but they decided to go pro, and none, like Alex wasn't there. Doug, or Alex wasn't racing. Doug's engines weren't done. They're still sitting out in wherever Willie Tuttle lives. He's waiting on engines. So him and Evan and those guys, the Bennetts weren't there. It was
yeah. Well, I think some of that too is Penn Can opening up. I know Tyler was at Penn Can, so
yeah, Tyler's running Penn Can this year. I don't know,
something to do with it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the kids. I mean, I guess they are planning on running champion. It's my understanding. But just
didn't make it out.
Yeah, didn't make it out. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Tyler's kid's gonna do. I don't know if they're gonna run Saturdays with him or, or what their plan is. But I do know that the whole Skyline deal has moved Tyler down to Penn Can.
Right.
So, I'm optimistic it's gonna pick up traction. We had 7 clones, which is pretty solid. I mean, that's more than we normally get. So, and the tires were fast. Track was fast. Tires were fast. There was, there was no real room, no real reason to complain about them.
Right.
The guys that were there, the guys that were, willing to give them a go. And I do know that we had a bunch of guys that are planning on running was fairly regular on Friday nights, that were holding off running Friday night because we were supposed to run a 1,000 wind show on Saturday. That ended up raining out, so I do know that there was a handful of guys that were saving their stuff for that. So hopefully,
do we have another reschedule for that race?
No, 3 strikes, man. That's
okay.
We have some more big clone races coming up at Champion this year. I mean, we've got the Reaper Clone Series. We got, I think, 2 races. I want to say one of them's $750, and I think one of them's $1,000 to win.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we got the $10,000 race coming up in September. So we have some big races for them. But the problem is now is that race was designed to pull because nobody else was running. We did it like the original schedule was supposed to be in the end of November. We pulled the plug on that because we would have had a lot of clone support. The other classes, we weren't going to have anything. And unfortunately, it's a massive purse, and running a racetrack is a business. I'm not opening the gates knowing I'm going to take a financial bath, a predictable one, you know. And I mean, luckily it worked out. It rained, it poured the day we were supposed to do it anyway, so it would have been canceled anyway. But I gave guys a week's heads up on the rain out.
Right.
And then we rescheduled it for, I think it was April 13th. And we rained out there, but that was, again, no other tracks were running. Or maybe one other track, but it wasn't a big money race or anything like that. We wanted to go to the 20th, but Weed Sport was running big money race that day, so we pushed it to the 27th. And of course, it rained again. So now we're into all the tracks.
All the tracks are opening up, and it's hard to schedule a big money race when you've got conflicting tracks and guys doing other things and committed to their weekend tracks.
Yeah, it's one thing if it's something initially scheduled at the beginning of the year to throw in the middle of the season, like the Reaper Series. That schedule's been out since January, February. So those guys, the guys that are planning on following it, but you can't just throw a big. I mean, you can, but I don't like just throwing a big money race, right in the middle of everybody's plans. So that's where we're at with that. But we do have, I think we're like 3 weeks away from the Reaper Clone Series. I think the first one's $750 to win. I can't remember if it's 500 or 750 at Champion. I think we're like 3 weeks away from that. I can't remember for sure. But the Ghost class, the count was a little low there in the 360s. I think we only had like 4 of them or something. And then we had like 6 or 7 410s. A little bit of fireworks in the 410 race.
Yeah.
Somebody found out that we're not screwing around this year with suspensions for disorderly conduct.
Oh, boy.
We got one guy that found himself on the outside looking in for the next couple weeks.
Is there? Can we get into this on camera, or is this gonna be something off camera?
It was nothing really
just
great.
Curiously, what he did.
It's
what the ingenuity was.
Well, yeah. What the deal was there was the initial start. There was a terrible start. I mean, it was one that was going to get waved off anyway. You got 6 or 7 carts out there, and I don't think anybody made it through without bouncing off. Sorry, without bouncing off another cart, and he drew the short straw.
Yeah.
Frustrated, absolutely. I get it. Believe me, been there. If he was just mad. But then he's flipping off one of the other drivers.
Oh, suspensions. I'm goofy.
Yeah.
Okay,
but,
so yeah, okay, all right.
So he was flipping off the driver, the last one to hit him. That ended up doing the final damage that got him into the wall. But it was one of those deals like we were like 4 carts deep by the time he got to him. It was like one cart bounced off another, bounced off another, bounced off another, and sorry, they're 4 wide on initial start. Come down the front stretch. Somebody's gonna eat the plywood and. Yeah. And he did. And I told him, I went over to him and said, no, we're not doing this.
A matter of give and take, and nobody wanted to.
Well, he went
Nobody wanted to give, everybody wanted to take.
Yeah.
And then here I am, doofy me. That is somebody with the suspensions. And then I got thinking, somebody's trying to put a suspension in these ghost carts. That's awesome. I want to hear about it. What did they do?
I mean, it would be fun. It would be fun to try.
No, that's what I was thinking. I was like, somebody got creative.
Yeah. That's
I thought it was a tech issue.
That's something Scott Underwood would do.
No, I'm telling you, I thought that would be. I've talked to you about it before, and you're like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. You'll get DQ'd. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. It's a fun idea.
It was cool.
But anyway, so he goes to the pits, and even after said, "No, don't do it," he did it. And
gotcha.
Hooting and hollering, carrying on in the pits. So I'm not tolerating it this year. It's one thing that I got a lot of grief for. Well,
it's not like we've tolerated it any year, really.
No,
it's just,
but there was a lot of people that were like, that thought I let more stuff slide than maybe I should have, and maybe they're right, maybe they're not. I don't know, but this is supposed to be a family-oriented place.
Yeah.
Pits or not, I don't care. I'm not dealing with unnecessary
roughness.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, there was no fist
outside of the carts racing on the track. No unnecessary roughness in the pits or altercations on the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, there was no fist thrown or anything like that. But it was you can only tolerate. It was somebody we've had several issues with, just hooting and hollering and yelling and carrying on and acting like. So
bad boys.
Yeah, I mean, he did.
What you gonna
he
do?
He did apologize to me. It felt heartfelt apology. I'm not doing away with the suspension.
Well, no, it's 2 minutes. You got to do your 2 minutes in the box, right?
No, he's got his 2 weeks in the box. But,
there you go. Yeah, whatever. 2 minutes, 2 weeks, whatever it is.
But it's not, like I said, I'm not gonna name him. It's not a huge deal, but it's one of those. And I told him, I said, we're gonna make an example out of you. Sorry, bud.
Hopefully it's good enough of an example for everybody else to learn on. You know what I mean? And you might find that have to put somebody else in the penalty box for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Eventually,
when you smack one, the rest learn, right?
Yeah, generally.
That's generally how it works. So, but which the whole rain out deal and stuff like that. That was one subject I wanted to touch on a little bit tonight. Not gonna get too in depth with it because a friend of mine's already got a podcast planned on the same topic. And I don't want
rainouts.
No, well, yeah, yes and no, but when to cancel? And we could be talking about rainouts. We could be talking about track conditions.
Do you want a close up for this?
Sure, why not? But there was a lot of talk about track conditions at a track being very, 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 very dusty.
Oh boy.
I actually got a message about it. Somebody's talking about how maybe
we do offer a product
that's where I was going to head. Now if that track promoter, and I'm sure he knows who he is and he often watches, listen, discount code XX, spell it out, DOUBLEX.
No,
Seriously, give the product a try. I got a message from a driver who said he intends on switching tracks because he felt the plug should have been pulled on that show.
Yeah.
Said he didn't feel the promoter cared enough about the drivers to do what he felt needed to be done. Like I said, I wasn't there. I don't agree, disagree. I don't know. But we've all seen nights at the track where the track's really, really rough or really, really dusty. I'm not talking to any specific track, but
it could be any track, really.
Yeah.
I mean, any track could have a night that it's just not
any dirt track can have
not ideal.
Right, and it's one of those. I mean, as a driver, your thoughts on extreme dust or extreme rough?
Mine?
Yep.
Personally?
Run it no matter what? Make a decision on it? Or, nobody's holding a gun to your head, says you have to turn laps.
Right. So, okay. As a driver, we have that option of deciding that we don't want to go out on the racetrack.
Yep.
That is our choice. We can choose to make that decision or not. My opinion, there's everybody has to race the same track, regardless of what you're dealing with, dust or rough or whatever.
Right.
On the extreme end of it, I think there are probably times where visibility can be an issue. I've seen races get quote unquote fogged out, I guess, at more than one different track.
Yeah.
Where it's just too foggy to see anything. And typically, I mean, if you're in the tower, you can't even see the flagger.
Right.
And on the flag stand, you can't even see him when it's that foggy sometimes.
Yeah.
And that obviously when you can't see from the tower, that's when I think racing really becomes unsafe. As far as rough track conditions, man, it's tough. It's tough to say unless you've got I don't know. I've raced on some really, really rough racetracks.
Yep.
And we all got to find our way around the holes. I've seen guys flip lots of times, running through the holes and that's just kind of one of those things as a racer. That's our judgment. We got to make that judgment of where we're going to run and how we're going to run the car, especially when the conditions are extreme.
Yep.
Like Friday, you really didn't want to get off the bottom. If you got off the bottom, you really, besides the fact that there wasn't a whole lot around the outside, as far as track and a groove, at least for the modifieds, especially later in the race, you couldn't really see very well.
Yeah.
And you kind of had to run your car accordingly. And I think that there was times, where I think I had mentioned it to a couple guys where I was like, hey, if you're some sportsman guys that I was trying to help out, if you guys are starting in the back and you're not going to be able to see anything, it's probably in your best interest to just kind of do a lap or two or whatever, run to the first caution or something and then pull off. Yeah. If you're not going anywhere, pull off because it's not worth getting wrecked up.
Yeah.
Just because you made your first feature.
Yeah.
And then it was, I know there was a couple guys that I had said that to. It wasn't just one specific person.
Yeah.
And I think both of them guys ended up broken race cars.
Yeah.
So, again, I think it's up to the driver to deal with the conditions that we all have to deal with. So, I'm not one to say, we should cancel. Right. We're all there. We all show up to race, regardless of what the track conditions are, unless it's a monsoon and it's just absolutely too swampy to even get out on the racetrack.
Right.
If we show up and we're all there, we're there to race. That's my opinion. You know,
yeah, that's one thing that now
I'm not.
Yeah, now this obviously that race. I mean, I've seen a lot of comments about it being dusty, but I've only heard one person that said they felt he should have canceled. So you know, so I don't like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know how bad it was, and I know when you were talking about the race, you didn't once, how your night went, you didn't once mention the dust until we got on the dust conversation. So
well,
you know,
unfortunately for the guys that have to start in the back, you know, you got to deal with the dust, and I was fortunate enough to start close enough to the front where I didn't have to deal with it as bad. And like I said, if you stayed on the bottom, you know, you could see enough to get around there. I didn't stay on the bottom as good as I should have, but you know, I knew when I got on the outside or away from that, I wanted to get right back as quick as possible. You know, again, I mean, there was things that got, you know, I don't know. It's a crapshoot, man.
Yeah,
it's a roll of the dice.
I don't envy being these track promoters. Like that's one thing with the go-karts. I mean, we've had some rough track nights. Like we've had some really rough track nights.
You know, when I watched the video from the race report from Friday.
Yeah.
And you could see pretty decent, you know, I don't know if anybody else has watched it. I thought, you know, so that's a view that, you know, the race director is going to be getting.
Yeah.
You know, he can, if the race director can see what's going on the racetrack, it makes it awfully tough to try to cancel.
Yeah, well, that's
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it would be one thing if a big group of drivers came up and said, like Matt Hayes said, the drivers could basically unionize, approach the promoter, and discuss their issue, the surface or condition.
I think it would have been a minority vote to cancel. Honestly,
like
Friday.
I said, I wasn't there, so I can't speak for it. But it sounds like, I mean, I can respect anybody's opinion on it. I mean, that's one thing that, the driver that told me that, I absolutely respect his opinion, and but having been a promoter, we've had nights where the track has been very dusty. We had one night at Action Park. I can't remember I think it was last year, and it was way dustier than any go-kart track I've ever seen. And it was just one of those deals where it was the perfect storm. And water, we've been on the track prep thing about water making dust, but it was just one of those deals where this stuff, that the surface out there, I could have put water to it, and I would have had to drown the track, and then we'd have been there all night trying to run it back in. Or you can sprinkle it, try to knock the dust down. All it's going to do is blow the, as soon as they get out there, the moist part of it's just going to blow off, and you're going to back down.
Back to the dust.
Yeah, and all you're going to do is just build a bigger cushion, so even more people, when they get out of the groove, are going to end up stuck. They're going to go around and be tires off the ground. But it's kind of, we've had rough, same track. We've had rough issues with it being rough.
The way I look at it is, we're doing, as driver and racer, we're doing everything that we can during the week to prepare our cars to race the track, to make sure that all of our equipment is top of the line or the best that we can make it.
Yeah.
And we're coming 100% prepared. We're focusing on our setup and doing all that stuff. I mean, it gets down to where there's an art to it for guys in teams, right? So the way I look at it is it's no different, I think, for the track promoters and the guys or the crews that are prepping the racetrack. You know what I mean? I think there's an art and there's a science.
It's the same thing.
It's the same. It's obviously it's not the exact same thing because they're not turning wrenches and working on a car, they're doing the same. Yeah. The theory is the same. They're doing the same type of work to the racetrack.
The promoters are putting as many hours in during the week trying to prepare their track.
Right.
And trying to prepare their program for
and they're doing what they think is the best thing for them now. You know what I mean?
You just miss.
Right. And sometimes us guys we miss the setup. Racers we miss the setup. We make a wrong call. We make a bad adjustment.
Yep.
The promoters promoters, track workers, track crews, they all are in the same boat. It's they're taking a guess at it and with the best knowledge and experience that they have so far, and they're trying the best that they can. I don't think that I don't think there's too many track promoters that you could just point a finger at and be like, oh, they're not trying. They don't care. They're not trying. They're trying. Yeah, those track promoters and the track crews, they're trying their butts off every single week.
Yeah, I don't know any of them that just aren't trying.
Right, exactly.
And
sometimes we make bad calls. Yeah. Sometimes things don't work out, and you say, I know what I need to do next time, or I know what I think I need to do next time to make it better. That's what we do as racers. Well, that's what the track crews are doing too. Yep. I mean, they're it's silly to say that anybody that's involved in racing isn't trying. Right. I think or they just don't care.
Right. Which kind of brings us to our next weather.
Weather's a nasty thing to try to fight.
It's another damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because last year it was every freaking week. There was a chance of it seemed to be every week. I think there was maybe 5 or 6 total race dates out of 30 something I ran last year, where there was a 0 chance of rain, and I saw it really. I could see last year 40. I got it right down 40% chance of rain on any given app, and I'd be lucky to break even. That's 50% chance of rain. I'm going to lose money that night. There's just not enough die-hard, racers. Which I get it. I mean, it's a hobby, especially go-karts. It's most of the guys aren't running for points. They're just
aren't running for money.
Exactly.
They're out there for fun.
Yep, they're just out there to have a good time, and but it's we pulled the plug early on Saturday, and I got a little bit of flack for it, but I had my app. If I'd gone strictly by my app, I never would have canceled. But it was a big money race, big money clones, 1,000-win clone race. Yeah. And that requires a very good turnout. Well, when I'm getting messages, every other weather app out there was showing 80% chance of rain. Mine was showing 30. It was like a chance of a 30% chance of rain at 5 o'clock, and that was it. When you look at the hourly, and I'm like, it was a 3 o'clock start, and I'm like, why are people messaging me about this? And then I have, one of our racers has a meteorology degree. Sorry, Dyer. It wasn't you that I was talking about when I said my favorite meteorologist. Sorry, bud. But he got a hold of me Friday night, and he broke down what the weather models are showing. There's 5 different models. 4 of them were showing it's going to be a miserable day Saturday. Yeah. Yeah, that was Friday night. I said, get a hold of me by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning and let me know what you think. And basically, I'm going to make a decision based on
his opinion.
Yep. And he came back and he broke them down for me. He said one model still showing 5 o'clock chance of rain, 30% chance of rain. He goes, here's this. He sent me screenshots of everything.
And then the rest of it was just ugly.
He's fairly local. He runs a clone, runs a predator sometimes. And he's fairly local to Champion. I would say that would probably be his closest track. Mm-hmm. He doesn't run with us weekly, but he runs the money shows and the bigger races and stuff. And he says, he goes, I'll tell you this much. I said, what do you think? He said, break it down for me. He goes, I'll tell you this much. I'm not coming.
And that's good enough, right?
Yeah, that's good enough. And the thing is, I'm looking at it going, we had a solid chance of getting it in. I mean, It looks like the showers could be passing, but when I have all the out-of-towners got a hold of me and said, hey, sorry, not making a 3-hour drive out, 2-hour drive out. Yeah. I can go race at Lebanon Valley this morning where we know we're going to get it in, and maybe trot in the evening where the weather looks a little better. And, then it doesn't make financial sense. It's one of those things that I just broke even the night before. Yeah. And I don't have, you
don't want to lose money the second night.
Right. And I had somebody that kind of surprised me. I thought they knew how these things worked. Comment about rolling the $1,000 over to spread through the field on another race. I'm like, well, why? What? and and he's like, no, it's a valid question. It was somebody who's normally trolling. Like, he normally says something. I sent him a text message. I say, quit poking quit poking these guys. He goes, no, I'm serious. Valid question. I'm like, no, that payout money comes from
the entries.
Yeah, entry fees and pit passes and stuff like that.
Right. It's not like it's already there.
Right. And if there's a little bit of deficit there,
it's not like a sponsored payout.
Right. It wasn't sponsored. It was one of those. I just said I'm going to pay it regardless of what the turnout is. That doesn't mean I'm rolling $1,000 and taking an extra $1,000 over, to the next race. Yeah. So, ultimately it did end up being the right call to cancel. It did rain off and on Saturday.
How about a challenge? Challenge to your clone guys. What do you need? What do you need to add, say, an extra $100 to the car count wise? To add an extra $100 to the purse or whatever, to spread out an extra $100.
5 more carts.
5 more carts. So 5 more than what you got?
We
what's the total number of cart count?
We had 7 clones down there Friday night. We pay $125 to win. I think it's 40 for second and 20 for third, something like that.
So if you can get 12 carts,
do the
12
math.
carts, you get an extra spread an extra 100.
I need to go a little better than that because
15.
Right, because I need breakdown. I only charge $20 registration fees, so I pulled 140 in registration fees and I paid out 185. So we got to get up there, to do it. But I'd like to. I mean, obviously.
So there you go. If we can get 15 carts weekly, then we can see a little bit more money.
Yeah, and I think that's doable. But that's one thing I'd like to build the Ghost class too. If we can build the Ghost class up, I could bump their pay a little. Their pay is always based on cart count, so the more carts, the better the pay. But if we could get that field up, if we could get it, I mean, I think Penn Can's gonna have a killer Ghost field this year. So.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about Penn Can. Welcome to me. So we went to practice on Sunday, with the carts and the kids. Like I said, we're not completely 100% ready to go, but we got the carts able to run around the racetrack so the kids can turn some laps.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting. We got a little bit of a taste of what the Ghost class is going to look like at Penn Can. And, we did, as the second session came around, I happened to notice they come out 2x2.
They were racing.
At 2x2, Steve Simpson, SJ on the bottom. And then I believe it was Mike Pratchler and Kenny was second. And Clay and Bill was third or whatever, fifth and sixth.
Yeah.
And Conklins were next. They came back out. So they came out. I think there was 8 or 10 of them. 10 of them. They would come out ready to race, and boy, did they throw down.
Yeah, I saw the video.
So that was entertaining to watch. I think that's gonna be very fun watching father and son. They started, son's on the inside, father's on the outside, and it was quite entertaining. So the ghost class at Penn Can is gonna be interesting. I think there's some good drivers in there.
Yeah,
and ought to be a lot of fun and a lot of bragging rights between the fathers and sons. That ought to be That's gonna be cool. Yeah, that's gonna be really cool. So we're looking forward to some ghost racing at Penn Can for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, my son's only a year old. I don't think I can get it. I don't think I'll reach the pedals on a ghost cart yet.
No, not yet. You got a couple years.
Yeah, my daughter's she's 4.5. We'll
looking towards junior 1 soon.
Well, we're gonna get her we're gonna get her on the juice box this year.
Yeah, good.
She seems a lot. We tried last year and she wasn't having it, but she seems a lot more interested this year. So
nice.
Yeah, and then as long as she wants to keep doing it, then maybe next year get her on a junior 1 cart. She seems to enjoy racing and that's what's.
That's what it's about.
Yeah,
man. It's encouraging.
It's exciting. As a dad, it's exciting.
Absolutely. It's fun when you see the kids start taking an interest in it.
Yeah.
It almost gets another gear. You find another gear inside you that kind of gives you a little bit more drive and wants to kind of give them a little kick in the butt and push them along and get them into it too.
Yeah, we had her out at Champion a couple times last year, and she was she really liked watching Barry. She's sitting there in the bleachers. She goes, Daddy, I want a flag to wiggle. Can I wiggle a flag? So I found a checkered flag, and she's sitting there in the grandstands waving the checkered flag, having a great time.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, but yeah, let's see. There's talk about junior counts. Kara, 18 Ghost 360s in the pits at Penn Can. That is incredible. 18 Ghost 360s. That is going to be.
It's going to be a heck of a class, man.
That's going to be the premier class down there. I think.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's.
I'm telling you, they're going to put on some good shows. I think, again, like you said, there's still a couple carts that aren't ready yet. I know O'Hara's had expressed interest in racing at Penn Can, so
yep.
When they get their stuff together, there'll be another really good driver in the class. So
yeah, Mike Ross said there's a great turnout of clones too.
Yeah, yep, they did.
Yeah,
they had a good turnout of clones.
What they have about? How many they have, roughly?
Off the top of my head, it was like 7 or 8. Anyway, that was decent.
Yeah, that's solid. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the kart racing at Penn Can's gonna be top notch this year as far as the quality.
Mike Ross had 14 clones.
Was it 14?
That is a ton of clones.
Oh, that's a ton. Hey, man, he's probably got a lot better count than I do. I was focused on working on my kids' stuff and keeping the family going.
That is awesome. That's a great.
But I just got to peek my head up and look every now and again. But that was cool watching the ghosts and the fathers and sons go at it for a little bit. I think he gave them like a 10-lap race or something. So that was cool. Yeah, Mike, there was quite a bit of clones. Clone count was good.
That's great.
Like to see the juniors were fair. I mean, I'd like to see them kind of bump up a little bit, get a little bit more in the junior classes. I think we had 5 or 6 or so in each.
Yep.
Give or take. But yeah, no, it was good. Like to see some of seeing the kids bumping up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what translates to opening night too, because that's the other thing is we had like 60 carts at practice for champion. We had a ton of carts.
Yeah.
And then opening night came, and
well, I think a lot of it too is weather pending.
Yeah, weather pending. I'm sure the dirty tire thing and the Reaper tires scared off a few guys.
Yeah, maybe. Guys are still doing that at Penn Can, right? The rule still applies at Penn Can too, doesn't it?
Not for the clone. The clones don't have to run the Reapers or dirty tire. The
Predators,
the sanctioned classes, the juniors and the budgets,
and the Predators
have to go dirty tire.
Dirty tire.
But yeah, so we'll see what happens with the clones. I know I'm not gonna bail on the Reaper tire idea. Not after
one race.
Yeah, not after one race. Like I said, I know our counts are gonna come up because I know I've talked to several drivers that do plan on racing fairly regularly or regularly with us that weren't there because they were saving their stuff for
the race on Saturday.
Yep. So, and I know our Predator counts are going to come up and all that because, but
yeah. So we got any other comments? Anything?
Martel, what's a juice box? Okay, so the juice box cart is for any kids aged like 3 to 5. They're electronic. Electronic radio
flyer cart.
Yep, they go like 8 miles an hour. They're like $300 on Amazon or Radio Flyer website, and so it's just Kara's guy. I think she said under 5 years old. I think it's a 12 volt. Yeah, I can't remember. I think it's 12 volt.
It's like a Power Wheel.
Yeah, it's like
type
it's
of
a Power
deal.
Wheels go kart.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. What else did we see here? I saw another comment. I wanted to... Yeah, Scott Harwood, no way. There's more clones coming for sure. Y'all, I'm not changing the rule. Believe me, we're in it for this year, so...
Well, it would be still... Your guys are building up to run the class. Obviously they're stocking up. They're getting tires and stuff like that. Why would you change it after one race? That would be silly. All the guys that you've got potentially coming that weren't there yet...
Yeah, we got a couple.
I mean, anybody that wants to change rules after one race is crazy.
No, that's exactly it. And we got one guy that likes to stir the pot online and just about every 2 weeks likes to.
I think there's more than one guy. There's lots of guys.
One guy
that
always lights the fire.
Yeah.
Same guy every time, and it's not even somebody that runs a clone. But they don't. These guys that do that, they don't see the negative that they're the problems that they're causing. They think they're doing something to raise awareness, and all they're doing is they're making people angry that weren't before.
Right.
You know, they're just trying to stir the pot, and it's not like, I don't take kindly to that. You know, when you're out there, it's one thing if you have an opinion, you want to voice your opinion, fine. But to go out there and to every 2 weeks
to continuously stir the
start
pot
the,
and
start the same
something.
argument over and always start with, I think it's bullshit that, you know, and that's, you know, and it's
beating a dead horse.
Exactly. But all you're doing is just guys that have gotten, you know, and there's a few guys that fall into it every time. You get them calmed down. You get them, okay, yeah, this isn't a big deal, you know.
And then somebody comes around.
Yeah, somebody comes around, eggs them on, pokes them and prods them, and then they start, and it always, like, that cart forum, I had to leave the group because it's a cesspool. You know, and nothing good comes of it. All it does, it always starts out with that, and then it evolves into this, that, and the other thing, and everything that I'm doing wrong. And
that was like the message boards back in the day. Do you remember the message
boards?
This
is the Syracuse.com
of karting.
Of karting, yeah. It's but yeah, so I had to leave that group, and then I leave the group, and then people are sending me screenshots of what's being said on there. It's like, guys, I just don't want to see this.
That's why I left the
group because I don't care to see it, because all it's gonna do is piss me off, and I'm sitting here, you know, putting my blood, sweat, and tears into something to have somebody who's never done it before and thinks they're a lot smarter than everybody else to go out there and cause the problems, and you know, and so these guys that they think they're doing a favor, they think they're raising awareness to issues. No, all you're doing is you're creating problems
that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, and you know, and it drives me nuts, and I don't know, you know, and like the dirty tire thing. I talked to a lot of people before this, and everyone was in favor. In fact, almost every major tour since we've done that has added a dirty tire class, and guess what's their most popular class?
The dirty tire
class. The GOAT series down south. It's run by Terry Odom, who's the owner of Reaper Tire. They added the dirty tire class to their GOAT series races down there. They did the first one as an experiment. It was so popular they did it again. I think it's I can't remember if it's the Keystone series or the Burris Money series. It runs down in Pennsylvania. One of them added it, and it's proved to be popular. So it's one of those, you know, people. I just don't.
Just got to catch on a little bit up here.
Yeah, it's got guys got to be willing to try it, and they figure out that, you know, the race night prepping, you put prep on a tire before a race, you get like 3-4 laps out of it till it's burned off.
Yep. And
all you're doing is just doing away with that initial 3 or 4 laps. You know, what it does do is it saves guys having to carry, because you got to run the same set of tires all night. It saves guys having to carry a ton of sets of tires, you know, and it's you know, that's one thing. The guy, the shit stir, you know, he's like, it's because guys don't want to clean their carts. They're showing up with dirty cars. I'm like, what planet are you from if that's the issue?
Oh, you
You know, he's probably watching right now. Hi, Bobby.
So anyway, getting on to that, or away from that, we closing in the last 10 minutes here. I think I'll give you 5 minutes, and you can explain or talk about a little bit about your upcoming weekend racing or schedule of what you got going on, and then we'll talk about mine a little bit.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
I think it's a good way to close the show.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on this weekend. This weekend we're headed back to Action Park on Saturday. We're champions every Friday night, but Action Park, we're going to run the makeup from the Prelude to the 212 last year. So anybody that still has their wristband.
So you're racing Friday
at
and
Champion.
Saturday.
Yeah, Friday at Champion, Saturday at Action Park. Anybody that still has their wristband will be admitted for free. You know, registration fees. We've got the list of all the registered drivers. They will be free registration. It's going to be a complete new show. We didn't finish the heats that night, so we're going to start again. One thing we are going to do is we're going to run a practice from noon till, I think, 3:30, 4 o'clock. At that time, we're going to shut it down, empty the pits. So it's $10 to get into practice, and then you don't have to show up to practice. But But then show up at then race time. We'll honor the wristbands at race time and get them in there and get that show rolling. And then, so that's going to be that. One thing we didn't touch on was the Afton track, the Dreamfield Kartway. Construction has begun on that. We've got the general shape down. It's going to be, we've got a little more dozer work to do. We're supposed to have we've been using a grader for most of it, grader and a little tractor for most of the shaping, but we do have a dozer. It's supposed to be there next week, hopefully, to kind of finish the progressive, scrape the infield down a little bit farther and finish the progressive banking. That's going to open up. We're going to open up during the Afton Fair on July 20th. Run our first race. That's a Reaper Series race for the clones, as well as all of our usual classes. So that's where we're at with that. One other thing that I will touch on, because it's kind of we've been awful quiet about the Oval Cart Digest thing, the magazine. We get pretty regularly get beat up pretty good because we haven't been able to get an issue out now in like 9 months or something like that. Basically, our time has not allowed us to do it. But good news there is we do have a prospective buyer for the magazine. It is somebody that is well known, well respected throughout the entire country. So just got to finalize some details, but it sounds like he's gonna buy the magazine and put it back into regular production. Because that's been my biggest, probably my biggest headache over the last several months is the constant, where's our magazine? You took our money and ran, and wasn't deliberate. When we started that magazine, I was self-employed. If I needed to take a day or two off to work on it, then I can. Well, now I'm working 56 hours a week on top of running 3 racetracks, and I still have to be a dad and a husband, dad and a wife.
Yeah,
yeah, dad and a husband. So, so that's good news for the Oval Cart Digest thing. So part of the purchase is all the subscriptions have to be filled. The existing subscriptions that are there. So he's going to be getting the list of subscribers, how many issues they paid for, and that'll all be included as part of the purchase of the magazine. So obviously our apologies to those who have subscribed and have been tremendously let down. That's all we can do. We were on the verge. We do have one issue. It's just about ready for print, but it's just the time to button it up and go through, and it. Between the two of us, it's just not happening. We're trying, and we're getting we're getting destroyed on online about it.
Yeah.
It's understandable. It's not. I get it. If you paid $30 for a subscription, a year subscription, you're supposed to have 6 issues, and a year later you've gotten 3.
Yeah.
That's not good either. Scott Underwood, how's new RPM rule in the budgets? So far, so good. I do know we had one that failed miserably at Champion. During the rule is 5,500 RPMs. I think it went to 6,700. So something sketchy was going on there because I've never seen one turn that much before. But that seems to be a popular rule. It's pretty easy to police. So yeah.
But so that's your.
That's my breakdown. We'll jump over to you. We'll give you 5 minutes, then maybe take a couple more little comments on here and shut her down for the evening.
All right. Well, so obviously we're looking at Penn with the modified again on Friday. It's another redraw race. So we're hoping to have a little bit better race car this time. I know Keith's going to be working hard on the racetrack. The weather's kind of helped out a little bit this week as far as rain throughout the week. We got some rain today, and I think there might be a little bit more rain Thursday on the forecasts. So hopefully that'll help get a little moisture back into the track. And last week we didn't get any rain at all throughout the week, so that always throws a curveball with things. So hopefully the track will be a little bit better, a little bit more conducive to tires and everything. So that's our Friday night deal, and then Saturday we're gonna be busting our butts to get the carts together. Got a lot going on Saturday. Aubrey's got her gymnastics in the morning, and then we're working on the go-karts and stuff to get them ready for potentially, I don't know. We'll see if we can make it Saturday to Action Park or not. And then, but definitely we'll be at Penn on Sunday.
I will be hurt if you're not at Action Park.
Well, we're gonna do all we can do. I can't make any promises.
I got a speech to write. If you don't make it to Action Park, we're gonna have a hell of a speech.
Okay. So with that being said, I guess one way or another, Brandon will have me roped into Action Park.
You betcha.
On Saturday, but I am still looking for a place to race the big car on Saturdays as well. We haven't quite worked out the details as to where yet. But that's in the works. It might not be every single Saturday, but I'd like to do some Saturdays with the big car. Potentially maybe Thunder Mountain or I don't know, Woodhull, maybe somewhere. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But it all depends. It all depends on finances and whatnot. But that's the goal. That's what we got going on this weekend. We'll be at Penn with the 26th modified on Friday. And then the kids will be racing definitely Penn on Sunday with the go-karts.
Excellent.
So
yeah, we do have Keith Beach in here. He did say I can promise less dust. And just remember, Keith.
Anytime you want to
do it, that discount code, that's a good one. But yep.
Yeah. So anyway,
Keith, let's rip Fonda, Weave.
Let's what?
Let's rip Fonda.
Rip Fonda.
That's
well, Keith, if you want to sponsor me some tires to go up there, I'm sure we would give her a whirl. But yeah. Anyway, that's about it for me.
All right. Well, I guess that's about it for me. We're at the hour mark, or 2 minutes shy of an hour, but
close.
That's fine by me.
To give our send off.
So I'm just gonna scroll through here, see if there's any more comments that need to be touched on. Just a little bit of going back and forth about the dust thing, and it doesn't. At least on this page, I'm not seeing anything that needs to be touched on. So. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week, the week after sometime. We'll put an update next Tuesday, see if we're going to be back on Tuesday night. Or if it
all depends on how the weekends go for both of us, I guess, right?
Okay, there we go. Matt Fulton, who sells the Rev Limiter coil. It's that coil is by... I will shoot you a message.
There you go.
It's, oh boy... I have
let him think on it.
I have one in stock, Matt. Let me know. So, yeah. So there we are. We will see you guys in a week or two, and we'll be back.
Thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching.
Have a good night.